Hi, and welcome to the second video of this series. I'm Shehan, I'm a developer evangelist here, and today we are going to talk about how to build your IVR app using a WebSocket. In the previous video, we laid the groundwork to change the traditional subscribing methods, so hopefully this video will go smooth once you have the idea. Okay, let me open this up. We will use IntelliJ IDEA as our IDE. I will provide the sample code, so hopefully you can kickstart your application. Okay, let me start off with what is a WebSocket. WebSocket is a protocol which allows communication between the client and the server using a single TCP connection. Sounds a bit like HTTP, but it isn't. The advantage WebSocket has over HTTP is that the protocol is full duplex. It allows simultaneous two-way communication, and its header is much smaller than that of the HTTP header, allowing for more efficient communication even over a small packets of data. The life cycle of a WebSocket is easy to understand. The client sends the server a handshake request in the form of a HTTP upgrade header with data about the WebSocket it's attempting to connect to. The server responds to the request with another HTTP header. This is the last time the HTTP header gets used in the WebSocket connection. If the handshake was successful, the server sends a HTTP header telling the client it's switching to the WebSocket protocol. So that's pretty much it. So from there onwards, the WebSocket carries out the connection. So now a constant connection is open, and the client and the server can send any number of messages to each other until this connection is closed. And also, these messages only have about 2 bytes of overhead. So that's great. The WebSocket server works in a similar way to the WebSocket clients. It responds to events and performs actions when necessary. Regardless of the programming language used, every WebSocket performs specific actions. So the actions are: it is initialized to a WebSocket address, it handles on open, on close, on message events, and it sends messages to clients too. So to create a WebSocket instance, you need a valid host and a port. We can call the start method and wait for the clients to connect. After starting, the server is able to accept connections. So let's go see these events in our code segment. So it's in IVR endpoint. As you can see, the 4 events are also in our code segment. So in the open event, determines that a new client has requested access and performs an initial handshake. The client should be added to the list, and probably the information should be stored related to it. So here in a code segment, I log this message when it's connected. So here we go to the on message event. It is raised when a client sends data to the server. Inside this event handler, the incoming message can be transmitted to other clients, or probably select only some of them. The process is simple. So what happens in this part of the code is, I check whether this is a call terminate request or not. So I've used an if statement to achieve this, and so if it is actually a terminate request, it checks for the IVR request values. So if the value is 6, it will call upon the register user method, so that the user will be registered via the subscription API. So else, if this is not a terminate request, the user's subscription status will be checked using this method, and check whether the user is registered. If the user is registered, it will load this method. So this basically loads one JSON, and if it is unregistered, it loads another JSON. So what it does is, a developer can build an application which initially say, when a user dials this number, you have not registered to this application. If you want to subscribe to this service, press 6. and when the user presses 6, the call is terminated and the user gets registered to the service. Then when the user dials again, the app recognizes that this user is a registered user and loads the JSON from the provided service. So let's go to the methods. So these two methods, which retrieves the relevant JSON files, are inside the resources. So basically, these are my JSON files. So this receives the relevant JSON file according to their subscription status. And also down here, the subs get subscription status and the registered user. So these methods check whether the user is registered or not via the subscription API, and the parameters for these methods are configured inside the subscription keybox file. So as you can see, the URLs and the app ID, the passwords and the MSISDN and the registration action. And finally, on the on close event, it is raised when the client is disconnected. So the client is removed from the list and informs the rest of the clients about the disconnection. So that's what happens in this. I have used the logger again, and that's pretty much it. I have also included a README file where I could find the configurations, and you probably need some time to get the hang of it. And hopefully this was helpful. I will try to simulate this in our next video in the series. And thank you.